Good afternoon, evening. Yeah, definitely evening. I was not planning on filming anything today. I was planning on just coming out for a little bit of photography, but look at that sky, look at them conditions, and check out them surfers. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to capture. I'm sure it will definitely involve surfers, water and skies, because that is something I definitely have an abundance of. And off in the distance over there, you won't be able to pick it up on the DJI, but that is Middlesbrough, and Middlesbrough has a big power plant that you can see from here too, which is super cool. Well, it's Redcar, but Redcar and Middlesbrough, pretty close indeed. So I guess we're just going to do a little bit of photography, really. No big plans other than that. And I kind of want to get the long lens out. And it's not something that I use a lot on this channel, to be honest, in general, to be honest. So I guess that's where I'll start. Somewhere that I don't normally go. Right, so quick change of lens, and I'll talk to you why I'm going long lens, because I think it's the right choice. Conditions right now are beautiful. So I'm gonna switch around. So I know normally I do like a whole exploring, working out my shots and everything, but because I've already been here, I've kind of already worked out what I wanted to capture. And what I'm wanting to capture is happening right now, which is unfortunate, so I'm not going to worry about it too much. But my plan is I'm going to photograph the buildings at the end. Let me jump into camera mode. So my plan is I'm going to capture some rocks down here in the foreground. They're covered in water at the moment. Whoa. Top tip for having your camera bag is don't leave it on the water. Don't leave it on the floor. Keep it in your back. Much safer that way. Anyway, so I've got these rocks down here. They look great. I've got waves over here, surfers, and then I've got the buildings in the background. The sky is beautiful, but it's a little bit higher than where this lens is going to get. And I might do a wider shot later, but for now, this is what I wanted to get. So it's out of focus in that immediate foreground, but I think that's going to help give it depth. Because I'm shooting on a telephoto lens, that tends to give compression. But I don't want compression in this. I still want it to look like a nice, you know, story journey into the image. My settings, however, I've got it on a 0.5 aperture, a 4.5 aperture, f4.5, ISO 200, and that gives me a 1/25th of a second, which isn't freezing the surface still, but it's freezing them enough so you know what they are. In fact, I'm going to go to 3/20th of a second. Okay, so I'm just going to wait until the rocks look really nice in that foreground, and then I'm going to capture that. Okay. So I'm quite liking them rocks. There's a little spotty, there's little bits of water in between. You can see it just here. It looks quite good. Now I'm going to capture the buildings at the end. So I'm going to drop that exposure because I quite want them to look dramatic and moody. Okay, so you can see the buildings just over them waves. And if the wave is too big, the one with the surfer on it, I can adjust them buildings and make sure they are still, you know, visible. Now it's just a case of waiting for that wave, the one that the surfer is going to ride. But while I wait, I'm going to leave you with a little bit of a video. I would say a time lapse, but a time lapse would probably be too long. These waves are coming in quick and fast. So what I'll do is I'll just leave you in a little video and then speed it up. Okay, so I'm not sure I captured the right one, but I also don't want to spend all evening trying to capture that same image. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move over to here, this little viewpoint, over Saltburn, because it looks incredible. Look at the water moving, the clouds above, that halo that's in the clouds It just looks awesome. And then I've got this really cool, like sort of shaped ground here that's going to make a really nice, interesting foreground. So it's going to be a case of another quick swap of the lens, and then let's capture this bad boy. So lens is changed, and for all of you photographers that do come down and battle the ocean, it's nerve-wracking changing your lens this close to the water. Absolutely nerve-wracking. Now what I need to find is a path through all of this green stuff that I can use as a direct leading line. Something of interest, maybe has a slight reflection, maybe. And I think I found one. So what I've got is I've got this little bit here, this little bit here, leading around, pointing through. I've got the reflection of that halo here, the one that's in the sky, and I think that will look pretty special. But I just need to get the camera lined up, and then I'll talk you through my composition a little bit more. So as you'll have seen just over there, I had gone for a portrait to start off with, but I ended up switching up to landscape. But that's because I was missing out this little section down here. And that, to me, is the make and break of the interest, because I really wanted that in the scene. So I've got that now, and I'm happy with this. When I actually shoot this image, I'll be shooting it in a 4:5 crop. So this top bit, that'll be gone. This very, very bottom bit, that'll be gone. And I'll be left with the meat of the middle. I've centralized Saltburn. I think that's quite important. I've got a lovely band of light up top here, which is reflecting in that water just down here, giving that mirror image between the sky and the land, helping with that balance, the synchronization, you know, all of them beautiful, good things that you want out of your photography. My first shot is going to be 1/8 of a second, f11, ISO 100, and there we are. Now I'm sure you can work out that that is for the sky, and doesn't that sky look incredible? Then I'm going to raise that exposure for the town. So now I've got it on 2.5 of a second. And look at that, the lights are starting to come on the town, it's looking good. Now if I stayed here and waited until the lights were making reflections in the water, that would look even better. Now for the foreground, I'm going for 1/2 a second. And that's it. That's the magic over. Then what I'll do is I'll go back into Photoshop, I will compile them different parts, and beautiful, I got a shot. But I don't know what else I'm going to capture. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a little walk up this way and see if I can work something else out. One thing I'm finding as I walk around is there is a lot of mess here. Like, not rubbish, but not uniformed either. So at the moment I'm in like a kelp farm. Luckily I decided to bring wellies today because it's a little bit deep, and then with the kelp as well, it's interestingly slippy. I think that's a nice way of putting it. It's very interesting and slippy. But I'm trying to get to this little bit just out here. It's like a little rocky outcrop. And I'm trying not to fall over, obviously, because that would be a game over, really. But everything seems to be just getting deeper. Anyway, so I'm just waffling, really. But yeah, trying to find a clean composition, and that is definitely my struggle at the moment. But I'm hoping over here I can get some nice, strong, simple lines. So I've made my way across, and I think this is going to be a totally worthwhile little adventure. So it's time to get set up, I guess, and then hope no big waves come and try and wash you away. But you'll know if they do. You'll see me running very quickly towards you. So this composition, I knew it was coming. A wave too big. So I'm gonna talk to you from this side. Turn that off. Now I've got this lovely little channels of rocks that are creating nice beautiful flow coming through. Over in the distance I've got the steel works over in Redcar, and that's sort of my focal point, but I'm leaving everything quite large because I don't want it to be dominating the focal point. I want it more about this little bit of interest in the foreground and this beautiful sky that I've got that's so steel blue. It's just oh, honestly, it's just absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to focus to the buildings at the end, because obviously that's my focal point. Open up my aperture all the way, same as I always do. Let's get that sky first. I really want a dramatic, dark sky. And look at that. Is that sky not incredible? Absolutely incredible. Now I want to start to capture some movement of this water running through. So I'm going to do something slightly different. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lower my f-stop. I mean my ISO. I'm going to lower my ISO down to L10 down here, and then I'm going to adjust my exposure accordingly, and that's going to be a 2-second timer. Now the next one of these waves to come through, they're going to create nice patterns in the water. Fingers crossed anyway. They're going to create some nice interest in that water, and I'm going to capture it. And then when I've captured it, I'll be able to composite the interest in the sky, the icy eye, and then this movement in the water as well. And I think 2 seconds was going to be perfect. But I'm also starting to think that I don't want to be out where I am right now for much longer, because these waves are definitely getting closer. Okay, so I've got a nice body of water moving in right now. And I understand tonight's not been my normal vlog with B-roll and structure and everything, but it just seemed so beautiful tonight. I really didn't want you to miss it. And look at that. You see how it's rushing across? Okay, let's get a little bit more of that action. And that looks absolutely incredible. It really does. I'm going to take a little bit less off that polarizer. I'm going to close my aperture f16. Okay, wait for this next big wave to come through, and then let's see if the next one looks better. And that's my best tip when it comes to seascape. Don't just capture it once. Capture it many times and make sure you're happy. Check. Actually check your work. Because that wave might not have been any good, but the next 5 waves might be perfect. They might be exactly what you want. And that's the fun of seascapes. And this little water bit that I'm studying, definitely getting deeper. Definitely getting deeper. That tide is coming in. So I think this is going to be my last one of this shot. I've got a nice big set of waves coming in. Hopefully not too big. And I'm going to be swimming. But, yeah, going to get that shot. Here we go. Okay, this is much bigger than what I was expecting. I should probably start moving really. Yeah, really don't want to get caught out, but also don't want to miss this shot. Okay, just going to wait for these rock formations to come back into view. And then I'm moving. Okay, that'll do. Time to get a move on before I get caught again. So I will see you when I'm out of the danger zone. And then we'll talk about the shot that I just captured. Yeah. Right, so I made it to drier land, which is definitely good news. But this vlog has not been my usual style of vlog. It's definitely been a lot more gun-ho, quick, and not so much thought out. But that seascapes, that is how seascapes are. They are quick. You've got to react and you've got to get them shots, because that wave might not come back, or it might just repeatedly come again and again and again. Or you might be out taking a lovely photo and suddenly realize it's getting really deep around you, like I just did out there. Anyway, seascapes are interesting. They change quite substantially as you go through the experience of capturing them. And that's what makes them so great. But also the style of vlogging tonight, like I said, has been a bit, you know, all over the place. So if it's been irritating to you, I apologize. But if you found it interesting watching me having to move quickly into destinations, out of destinations, and get them shots, yeah, leave a comment below. Let me know. The photography itself, I think's gone pretty well. Pretty well. There was one more shot I captured earlier on, and I'll show you that one at the end as well. But I think that is going to be all from me this week. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. Not sure where I'll be next week. You never know. I might even be back in the Lake District. Ooh, that would be nice. So yeah, peace out, peeps. Ciao.
If you talk all the time, you'll never hear what anybody else has to say. And therefore all you'll have to talk about is your own conversation. The same is true for people who think all the time. That means, when I use the word think, talking to yourself, subvocal conversation, the constant chit-chat of symbols and images and talk and words inside your skull. Now, if you do that all the time, you'll find that you've nothing to think about except thinking.